Hi, this is Laura Paxton. What I'm here to talk with you about today is how to cope more effectively in your life, whether you're diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder or other developmental disability, or a personality disorder, which may very well be a misdiagnosis of a developmental disability. I want to begin by sharing with you my new book, Borderline and Beyond, expanded 2007 edition with applications for autism spectrum disorders. Because through my research I found many parallels between both conditions which had never really been connected before, and I synthesized over 125 research articles to do this. One of the Borderline and Beyond program is about making a commitment to your recovery or to your continuous personal improvement. Because if you don't put it first, if you don't remember that you and your continuous development is the most important thing, then you cannot get better. If you lie around like a couch potato day by day, you will not experience your full potential. And the program that I set forward is all about how to function at the highest possible level for you. Now, you got to remember, this is something you got to stick to like glue, no matter what. As you can see, I've got a lot of glue here, a lot of glue. You might want to carry a reminder in your pocket or purse, like crazy glue or super glue, to remind you you need to adhere to the principle of self-improvement no matter what. And I also have fixative gloss, which you spray on artwork when you're done. You might want to take a picture in your mind of how you want to live and be, and then spray it in your mind with fixative gloss. Carry it wherever you go. Invisible tape, so that only you know what it is that you're working on. Whichever method works for you is what is best for you. Now, steps 2 and 3 are about dealing with everyday life and your immediate needs. So you've decided that you want to work on a recovery program to improve your level of functioning. The immediate needs are usually things like feeling incomplete, feeling like something is missing from your development, feeling absolutely out of your mind crazy at times, and also feeling like you're not quite grown up. How do you cope in an adult world when you're feeling much younger, even like a child, a lot of the time? This theme is very common with the so-called personality disorders and with PDDs. In both cases, it is possible to slowly learn more functional coping skills when you're feeling these particular sensations. A great example is the Edward Scissorhands story, which I write about in my book. Edward Scissorhands had a problem. He had scissors instead of hands. He could have used them as weapons, but he used them as creative tools. He was not complete. He was being designed by a scientist who left off his hands. He died before he could finish, so all Edward had were these scissors. He used them constructively rather than destructively. And this is the basis of steps 2 and 3. 4 is about sensory modulation. And you may not be familiar with that term, but what it has to do with is coping with the environment and how it affects your sensory system. For example, are you distraught when you are around loud noises or bright lights or multiple people talking at one time? Does it bother you when people touch or hug you? Does it bother you when you have a light touch? Does that just completely send shivers up your spine? Until you have adequate sensory modulation, emotional modulation is impossible. Ask any mother. Children need to have eaten their food, gotten enough sleep, and had decreased stimulation before they can behave. It's just absolute common sense. But yet it is a novel concept to many psychologists. So I've made a whole other video called occupational therapy with adults to really go in depth about this issue. And it's a very large part of the new program. Step 5 is about emotional modulation. After you've accomplished getting your sensory system balanced and in order, the next step is to get your emotions on even keel, especially when you're feeling very upset or like you're about to lose control. Intense, overwhelming feelings they're par for the course, whether you have borderline personality disorder or if you have a developmental disability such as autism or Asperger's syndrome. So it's really important to learn techniques such as mindfulness, which means standing back and watching your feelings with detachment, and learning methods such as grounding yourself and distracting yourself. And there's just a cornucopia of different coping techniques outlined in Borderline and Beyond. What I love about what I wrote is you get to take the opportunity to function as a scientist in your own life. Step 6 is about finding the blessing and the curse, and you are searching for the coping skills that work individually for you. You are making up your own program as you go along. You're testing. Does this work? Does that work? And trying to figure it all out for yourself. And this is something that has been missing from so many programs and so many manuals, and I'm really happy that I have tried this approach, because it is the approach that works for me and for so many other people. Steps 7 through 9 are about defining yourself in your own way. In step 7, you work on boundaries. What are your personal boundaries and what are the boundaries of other people? This is difficult for all the conditions that I've listed above. And this gives you the chance to really work on this and get straight. What are your boundaries? What are other people's boundaries? How do you want to work within them? The other steps. Step 8 is about self-acceptance and how to define yourself by your choices, to accept yourself the way you are, and to accept what you can be if you push a little harder towards your goals. Step 9 is about replacing the victim mentality with a sense of inner power and direction. In other words, you're learning about I can. Steps 7 through 9 help you to learn to really refine this scientific approach to yourself in a way you may never thought of before. 7 is about how to be the detective, more so than the scientist and researcher. Now that you have discovered how to become the scientist with your life, now you have to really fine-tune and refine each little aspect of your life as if you have a magnifying glass and you're looking around and you're searching for hidden choices. We wrap it all up and pull it all together with step 12. In summary, it is to remember intensity is a choice. You have control. There are methods that you can use to deal with it, which you have learned throughout the program. And this gives you a chance to really put the pieces together for yourself. There's also a relapse prevention section to remind you that when you slip, you have glue. You can stick right back to what you're doing. Stick right back to working your therapeutic program, taking your medications, or working in Borderline and Beyond program. Whatever you do, remember, your life is precious.